Right, so I've laid out my pattern. I've only done a rough cut around the pattern just to determine how wide it is, and to get rid of the extra scrap. But I'm going to do my final neat cut in one go with a rotary cutter. So I'm using pattern weights. Some of them are official pattern weights, some of them are just big washers kind of taped together or strung together with embroidery thread. You can use anything really. You can use cups of tea or beans, or tins of beans, or anything at all, heavy shears, anything really that just holds your pattern down. I prefer this to pinning, because pinning is a faff. It distorts your paper. These you can just quickly move out of the way if they're in the way of your rotary cutter. I also prefer using a rotary cutter to scissors. When you use scissors, it lifts the fabric and it moves the paper pattern ever so slightly away, and it makes it less accurate. So once you get the hang of rotary cutting, it is actually much quicker and much more accurate. So the big trick with rotary cutting is make sure you have a cutter that when you take your hand off, it closes it pulls the blade back in. Really important. If you have one where the blade is constantly out, you will at some point forget to put the catch on, and you will probably slice the top of your finger off. Been there, done that. It's not fun. So get one of these. These are super cheap. You don't have to spend much money. You can just replace the blades when they're blunt. Big thing is cut away from yourself. You can cut across, cannot cut towards you, mainly because it's just your hand goes all wobbly. You have no control over what's going on. So the other thing is put some weight on the rotary cutter. Okay, these rotary cutters can cut through 6 layers of fabric, so you'll totally find cutting through the 2 layers of fabric that you need for pattern cutting pretty much, but you do need to give it some welly. If you've made a cut and it hasn't gone all the way through, it's gone through 1 layer, then by the time you go over it again and again and again, you end up shredding the fabric. So you might as well make one decisive strong cut straight off. Now what I find, I'm right-handed. What that means is I quite like having the blade on the right hand side. Let me just move the camera over a little bit. On the right hand side of my pattern, because that means I can see the line along which I'm cutting and I can see the blade at the same time. So it is possible to cut on that side, but it's much less accurate. So you might just have to go to the other side of the table or wherever you've got your pattern laid out to cut the other lines. Likewise, if you're left-handed, you will find this one. No, actually, it's nothing to do with left-handed, is it? It's to do with where the blade is at. I wonder if there's left-handed rotary cutters. Right, so you might still have to go to the other side of the table because you just need to have the blade and the pattern on the same side. So here goes. I'm just going to do some cutting here. Let me just move this out a bit so you've got a bit more of an overview. I'm cutting out a size 14, which is this dark blue line here. So obviously never have your fingers anywhere near where you're actually cutting, but you can have your hand on your paper really nearby, and you can have it behind as long as you don't ever pull back. So I'm really giving it all my might. You'll find that way it is actually extremely unlikely that you will scoot over and accidentally cut into your fabric. I've never actually seen anyone do that. So it is about being confident. It's about making bold strokes. I've made a little bit of a hash of that bit there. It's not massively accurate in that corner. Wouldn't massively worry about it. Just a quick chat about the grain line as well. So the grain line is indicated on this pattern by this. I've eyeballed whether it's level with the fold. I think it's about right. It doesn't matter if it's a few millimeters out. That's not a biggie at all. So I'm just going to cut all the way around it and then we shall be back.